This week's parsha is Parshas Ve'era. I wanted to talk about the topic of Hakaras Tov and Kafui Tov, the importance of appreciating the good that we receive in our life, and specifically the dangers of denying the good and not appreciating those who give us good and just throwing it back in their face and not treating them with the proper way that they deserve to be treated for the good that they do for us, and the damaging effect that has on our middas, on our whole character and who we are as a person. Topic comes up in the parsha in multiple of the makos. We find that some of the makos were done by Moshe Rabbeinu, and some of them were done by Aaron HaKohen. And the explanation in many of the ones done by Aaron HaKohen is because of the fact that Moshe felt Hakaras Tov and didn't want to express Kafui Tov, specifically the mak of dam, for example, which involved hitting the water. Moshe Rabbeinu said that the water protected me when I was a baby. How can I strike that river that was good to me? The ground served me. The ground buried the mitzvah to protect me. How can I go ahead and strike the ground for the mak of kinim, for example? Very famous idea, most of you have probably heard it, that he didn't want to strike the ground or the river because he felt Hakaras Tov to them, because they had done good to him, and because he didn't want to express Kafui Tov. One can ask the question, I first heard this word from Rabbi Frand, we're not talking about a human being with feelings, we're talking about the ground, the river. What's he really trying to accomplish? Is it for the sake of the ground, or for the sake of the river? It would seem that it's not. It would seem it's for the sake of Moshe Rabbeinu's own character as a person. For him to go and express, for him to go and inflict and strike out at something which was good to him, he felt would be mekalkel his middas. It would damage who he is, because damaging your Hakaras Tov is a tremendously destructive force in the human being. Kafui Tov is one of the most dangerous middos, when a person just has a complete disregard for those who have done good for him in the past. It's a very destructive force. It can lead to the worst of middos. Chazal tell us about Pharaoh, that this is part of what happened to Pharaoh. Initially it says Pharaoh was lo yada es Yosef. He made it like he didn't know who Yosef was. He ignored all the good that Yosef had brought upon his kingdom, all the wealth, all the salvation he brought upon his kingdom. And then later he says lo yadati es Hashem. I don't know who Hashem is. Meaning, obviously in the times when Yaakov and Yosef were around, he knew very well who HaKadosh Baruch Hu was. And it seems that Chazal say that because he denied the good that Yosef had done for him, because he denied the bracha that Yaakov had given him, in the end, he comes to forget HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is a very much quoted Chazal. I was trying to wrap my head around understanding it. What's the connection? Maybe he's selfish, or he has these motivations why he wants to ignore the good that was done for him. Why should that lead him to deny HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Why can't I just deny the good that somebody does for me? What does that have to do with my relationship with Hashem? I was thinking maybe the pshat is because the amount of selfishness a person has to work to develop, that in order to totally just, say Pharaoh's example, where Yosef brought him such tremendous bracha, he changed the whole kingdom, saved the whole kingdom, saved his life. And now he's just saying, I don't care, and I'm going to mistreat his descendants. So it's such a kilkel hamidos, that it's just destroying the character of the person. And they come to such a point of selfishness and corruption where even HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself they come to deny, because it doesn't fit with who they are anymore, to have to answer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I was thinking, Pharaoh had good excuses, right? He's going to talk about the colonialism of the Jewish people and how there is a threat to Mitzrayim, and he had all these good reasons. It's not just straight up. So he's not doing it ostensibly because of selfishness. But at the end of the day, I think the pshat is that he's not fooling anybody and he's not fooling himself. And at the end of the day, he's throwing in the garbage the good that was done to him. And this Kafui Tov is tremendously destructive to him. You see, HaKadosh Baruch Hu kept sending makos in the hopes that he would do tshuva, and he was never able to come to that point. He was never able to turn around. I spoke about last year, even the nation of Mitzrayim, all the years later, they still had not changed as a nation. They never really learned from their mistakes either. It seemed that a person could reach a point where it's very difficult for him to change even when terrible things take place. And we see this in the world. We see nations and cultures that have been very helped by the Jewish people, and they're displaying a lack of Kafui Tov, and more than that, a tremendous Kafui Tov. And we see that it's tremendously destructive to their character, and we see how it's bringing them lower and lower. We see just in the world what's taking place. And even when evil is thrown in the face of somebody, I say, if the videos from October 7th don't convert anybody, then there's no amount of talking and arguing that would be able to convert somebody either. It's just the evil speaks for itself, and you see some people have been converted, and many haven't. They just, when you're in that down space of evil, then you keep going lower and lower. To me, it's been very instructive. I've been wondering about it. Just is there no limit to the sheker? Is there no limit to the amount of ways people are going to spin and pretend that this has nothing to do with this and this is really about something else? And in the beginning, it was making me nauseous. I said, is there no limit? And I realized that there's no limit, and it's a famous story about Shlomo HaMelech. We had it recently as a rare haftorah, that Shlomo HaMelech has two women are fighting about whose baby is this, and one is claiming that the other, in fact, stole this baby of hers because her own child died and is now trying to take it as her own. And Shlomo says, I have a solution, let's cut the baby in half. And one woman starts crying, Chas v'shalom, just give her the baby. And the other woman says, great idea. And Shlomo says, I know who the mother is. And everyone praised Shlomo's wisdom. So if you think about it, what's the pshat in the story? At that point, I could also tell you who the real mother is. The wisdom is to ask the question. The wisdom is to know that he would catch the fake mother through offering such a suggestion. And really, it's mind-boggling, because this woman is willing to kidnap this baby because she wants a baby, and she's going to get to the point where she's going to agree to have the baby cut in half. How did Shlomo think that? Why did this work? How did Shlomo know that it would work? And so to elaborate on, I believe Rav Chaim Shmulevitz takes this general train of thought. To elaborate on, I think the pshat is when a person's in a downward spiral in their middos, then they could just keep going and going. I think what he means is that Shlomo HaMelech knew that if a woman could go to the level where she's kidnapping and stealing another woman's infant, so then she's in the thrust of the Yetzer Hara and she'll just keep going lower. The second Shlomo suggests that he views it as moral to be able to kill the baby, then she'll also go along with that. That's just the nature of when a person's in that Yetzer Hara, that very often, that once he has them, they can keep bringing them lower and lower. I think it's what we see in the world today, that the Yetzer Hara has a hold of people and he just has them being selfish and cruel, and they just keep getting worse and worse and worse. And coming up with more and more different justifications of what morality really is about, and why murder is okay and why this is okay. And it's really a disgusting thing to see. It's really very frightening, and we really have to be on guard on a positive note on our own middos, that we really have to realize the importance of not being Kafui Tov to people, of appreciating what people do for us, and treating them the way that they do deserve to be treated, and being on guard that being a selfish person and following in the path of our Yetzer Hara could bring us to the lowest of depravities. May Hashem protect us, enable us to uplift ourselves, and go in the proper path. Have a wonderful Shabbos.